March sound check. It's your girl Cait here with Brayden here.
Hello.
So yeah, we've got quite a few vlogs to go through for this month. We've done a rather big month,
We have.
I'd say.
It's our first month of trialing the 2-a-week system, and it worked really well. Got a lot more content out, and it'll make for a bigger sound check today. Obviously, got more articles to talk about. Cait and I have embraced the coldness that's coming to Australia.
I have not.
We're sitting here with our hot Milos, and I've got a hot cake with me as well.
Microwaved apple cake.
Microwaved apple cake. Us Australians suck when it comes to.
Isn't hot cake a thing? Yeah, it's a pancake.
Yeah. That's what Americans call it. I don't know.
That's what Macca's calls them.
But yeah, us Australians are no good once it drops below 20 degrees. So
the Simpsons meme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it then. First piece of last month was by myself.
Yes.
It was by me. It was.
What are you willing to pay?
What are you willing to pay? And it was in response to something I'd heard on the drive home on Triple J. The argument is that charging an extra 1% for clothing would essentially eliminate the majority of the world's sweatshops.
1% is nothing.
1% is nothing. So if you buy say buy a top for $50,
I'll come back and buy it when it's on sale.
it's instead of paying $50, you pay $50 50. Yeah. So
that's nothing. It's like going to the grocery store now and charging 15 cents for nothing back.
Exactly. And I make the point in my article that I have a pretty tight budget.
You can't even buy a 50-cent cone.
And you know, it's something I'd be willing to pay. I make the point that I buy my coffee closer to where I work for more than coffee that's further away from me and is less, which goes against my tight budget. But you know, if this was something they bought in, I'd be willing to make that walk. And I think most people, you know, it's 50 cents a garment, providing that they're $50. If it's $100, it's going to be $1, which I'm sure is not going to break anyone's bank.
Well, if you're spending $100 on a shirt,
exactly,
I think you can spare that $1.
Yeah. And
only I know this probably isn't the same, but companies like Macca's, they say, oh, you just want to round up to the next dollar and we'll go to McHappy Day.
Yeah.
Or if you use a keep cup, they'll round it down. Okay, eat your apple cake.
I do have a mouthful of apple cake.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it is. It's little things that if the majority of the world embraced would cure the problem, but
I think it'll always be that hesitation at first, like a plastic bag. I know most middle-aged people had a big, I don't want to spend 15 cents for a plastic bag.
The amount of times I've heard that is ridiculous. But you're right. And it's going to be difficult for manufacturers to pull that trigger because
they don't make sure it's going to the right place as well.
Yeah, that, and they don't want to be the first one to do it because it'll make their prices higher than everyone else. But I think it'd, you know, be embraced by the general public, and I think it'd be beneficial to everybody. But you know, this is just the start of the conversation. There's still a long way to go. A lot of noise to make to get to that one.
I'll see what you did there.
Thanks.
Next.
Gabby hit us with her second piece. She's killing it. And she talked about unethical marriages.
And I feel like that's a topic, not pre-30 mil, I would have associated that most with modern slavery.
Yeah. And it's one that, you know, it hits home because it happens in Australia that all these arranged marriages can happen in here, and you know, not too far away in India and Nepal, they're pretty standard. So.
Well, I don't know if I've talked about this. I feel like I have. It might have been with Beck or Martina on one of the podcasts. There's a movie called Water. It's an Indian film where this child marries a grown-up man, which is a thing in itself. But once that man dies, she can never remarry. She becomes a widow to live in this like convent sort of thing, and then she ends up killing herself.
Yeah, it's shocking culture. And unfortunately, it's something that's ingrained in some of those cultures, and it's not going anywhere. Gabby makes the point of saying that 21% of girls globally will be married before they turn 18, which is, pretty shocking in itself.
And really, like, in a culture like modern day Western culture, if a girl got married at 18 nowadays, you think, oh yeah, that's a bit weird, but good on him. And then you sort of think, if this was in a different culture or in a different context, marriage is probably the scariest thing for some people.
Tell me about it.
Brayden, not you. But I don't know if that makes any sense or if it's within context at all. But if a couple of 18-year-olds decide to get married now, they think, oh my god, best thing ever. But marriage for a lot of people in a lot of different countries is something they never want to happen.
Exactly, and it's something that's forced upon them, and often it's a lot of family pressure from culture. So yeah, it's a tough one to get through. But Gabby also makes a point of saying that UNICEF will working to address the problem, but they also predict that by 2030 an additional 50 million girls will be wives before their 18th birthday. Scary stuff.
Yeah.
Jump online to check that one out, get the full facts. 30milliontonone.com.
Plug. Next.
Oh,
another country profile.
James talked about Brazil in his recent.
You don't hear much from Brazil, I don't think.
No, well.
Not since. Oh, this might be really dumb. Rio is in Brazil, yeah?
Yeah.
Not since the Rio then.
No.
I don't hear anything about Brazil. Not since the Olympics.
But yeah, James goes on to talk about the Brazilian history and their involvement in the transatlantic slave trade in the 16th and 19th centuries, and then talks about their modern problem, which is pig iron, which is pig iron, key element in production of steel, worth $2 billion per year.
Actual pigs?
No, pig iron. The major issue for Brazil is their charcoal within the pig iron. So they produce the charcoal and then creates pig iron, and they set up in Brazil and export to countries in Asia, who then make products to send to the Western world. It's a interesting dig to go into from James, and again, jump onto 30milliontonone.com to check it out.
Do you know what countries he's going to do next?
Not sure what the next country will be, but
I think it'd be interesting if James did one outside the box.
Like, who are you thinking?
Well, we've covered Australia quite a bit.
Yep.
England would be interesting.
England would be interesting because they were the first country to implement their anti-slavery laws. It'd be interesting to see. I know for a fact that their cases of slavery have gone up, in the sense that people are reporting more slavery.
I think we've done a blog on that one.
We have, yeah. It's an interesting quirk in the law, is when people start to report things that they acknowledge is wrong. And we've seen in Australia with domestic violence, there was this huge campaign against domestic violence, and then Vic Police put out the stats, and everyone's like, how is domestic violence on the rise? It's just a rise in reporting, so it's a good thing. And that's what we're seeing in the UK with slavery. More reports and more people getting prosecuted for it, so...
Because America, I feel like, is always going to have its issues.
America will always have their issues. That's
but we touch a lot on India, Africa, Australia quite a bit, and all those typical countries you would associate with slavery.
Yeah.
But you don't really think about Britain or some Mediterranean countries, or don't hear much from Japan.
Oh, Japan would be a good one to do.
Yeah.
You hear that, James? That's your job for...
whenever you can be bothered.
Yeah, soon. All right.
Next.
Sammy Mack is back and riding again, which is good. Sam has recently completed all of his law stuff and will be a lawyer soon, so congratulations to Sam. But he's gone on to write about the Qatar World Cup in 2022, and
hasn't been some issues with this.
Lots of issues about this. Lots of, and I think it was Martina who covered the initial problems a couple of months ago, and Sam's just backed that article up. The issue is that they're importing workers from around the globe to come and work in Qatar to get it ready for the World Cup, but they're not paying the workers enough.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So
I've seen this on the news, so you think people will be paying attention to
I think people are paying attention, which is good. It's the project has employed 1.5 million migrant workers from Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, and Nepal, but they're not getting paid enough, if they're getting paid at all.
Not wrong.
Yeah. Good. But yeah, shocking stuff. Such a big spectacle, and you'd think
they'd have the funds.
You'd think so. You'd think FIFA would have to step in and say, "Come on, we can't be associated with this, and we can't let this happen." Same with the Qatar government. It's shocking stuff. So someone's got to step in, and I think with enough pressure, they will. And I think that's what's going to happen. So good job, Sam. Again, check his article out at 30milliontonone.com. Next one, last one for the month, was Martina.
And we need to say congrats to Martina. She is a graduate.
Congratulations. She just finished a degree in?
Yeah, only like a couple of days ago.
Oh, congratulations to Martina. Very proud of my team. Our team. Yeah, so Martina, our longest serving rider now too. Champion. Absolute champion.
Yes.
But she's talked about
the OG.
The OG rider. She's talked about the long-lasting effect that slavery has, and trafficking more specifically.
People talk about that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things. Trauma survivors, or however is the best way to say that.
Yep.
You hear a lot about their after stories. What it's like after things.
Yeah.
But I feel like we don't hear a lot about life after slavery and how they cope with that. The ABC does a segment called You Can't Ask That. I remember watching one. It was about, I think it was about domestic abuse or sexual assault or something like that. And they sort of just ask the questions you shouldn't ask someone of that. And they do talk about the long-term effects afterward. Like, how is it going into a next relationship? Do you reckon you could be in a stable relationship after domestic abuse? And they're sort of like, well, after it, blah, 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 you learn to deal with it, go seek help and everything like that. And they say sometimes, like, there are people who can help you with these things. But in terms of slavery, some people would assume that once you're out, you're out. Yeah. And you should be thankful for that.
That's it. I mean, it's such a big goal to be working towards to get out of that slavery cycle. And then no one really thinks of the after effects. Martina has, and she's done her digging. 82% of women showed signs of fatigue in the first 2 weeks of returning to society. 41% of victims still showed this after 90 days. After 3 months of rehab, they were still showing, high levels of depression and anxiety, and saying that they are so high that they belonged in the top 10% of most depressed women on average in a population.
Yeah.
So it's definitely the battle isn't over once these people get out of slavery. And she goes on to say how they show signs of PTSD, which is more than understandable, and it's something they got to live with their whole lives. And
yeah, because I think a lot of people, like, once you think you're out of that situation, you're out of it, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's obviously a good thing to get out of it.
Touching on the marriage log again, if a lot of these people are fresh child victims, they grew up with this, it's their culture, it's what they know, what happens once they come out of it?
Yeah, exactly.
They might even think to go on in their life, okay, I did this, so my child can do this.
Yeah. And yeah, it's a good point. It does highlight the need for more support for victims of human trafficking and, slavery as a whole. So it's a good one. Good one to bring a bit of light to the situation. Good one to round out the month from Martina.
Yeah. Next
Next month is a bit of a weird one for us. So you might have noticed we're posting Soundcheck a little bit late because April has 5 weeks. So we're trying to spread our content out. But as of next week, we'll be back to the system that we did last week. I'll kick it off. Last month, rather. I'll kick it off. Not sure what I'm going to write about yet, but might follow on from last month's article, see what the progress is there. And Cait will be writing for us at the end of next month.
Yeah?
Yep. Got any ideas?
We'll make sure to do it this time. No, I have no ideas.
No ideas? Alright, well, if you've got ideas for myself or Cait, just comment below. Shoot us a message. Give us a like, all those things.
I really do give props to the regular weekly writers. There's a lot to think about, and I don't understand how everyone comes up with a topic every single month.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot to talk about, and, sometimes the news helps, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you feed off other people's noise, and you make your own.
I think sometimes, spark an idea, with the country profile, I think, I don't know, but James might have just thought, oh yeah, that would be a cool idea, goes off month by month.
Yeah.
But pulling all these random blogs out ideas, I don't know how. I need to think a good month in advance.
Good bit of practice and you'll be right.
Let's not make this a regular.
Couple of very smart young people we've got working with us, so
I am the online.
No, we're good. Alright, well that's us for the month. Easter's coming up. What do you got planned for Easter?
Brayden, we're in the same family.
We are. What are we doing?
It's your brother's birthday?
It is. It's Mum's birthday next week. And brother's birthday the week after that, so
I think that's it.
It's going to be a full April for us.
You haven't been here for Easter for a while?
I haven't. I was away for the last 2.
I'll tell you, we don't do anything.
Oh.
We get our little eggies from Mum. She still does the passage thing. Leaves the eggs down the passage.
Yep.
One was left under the couch last year. It's been, I think it might still be there.
Mystery egg.
That's it. I think we go to church at one point.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can tell. And then that's it. That's all we do.
Cool. Well, it sounds like a pretty full April for us. I mean, the bigger than Easter.
Oh, we've been requested to speak at Nagel again.
Oh, that's right. We've been in contact with Nagel College, and
they want us to do 2 sessions.
Yeah.
One with the year 9s or 10s, and then some with the year 12.
Yeah. So we're looking to do a bit more physical stuff. While still, I mean, it is hard now that everyone's got jobs and things, but we'll still be ramping up the online presence because it's 2019, yo.
Okay, and that's all we have for you today.
Thanks for checking in, guys. See you same time next month.
Make noise.